Hello students, welcome back. Myself Pushpender Singh and we are going to start with the history. That will be our class 2. All right, and we are going to start with the history class 6. The book name is The History Our Past Part 1. We have covered the first two chapters in our last class, and uh, we have also discussed about the past evidence through which we can also put light on our past. For example, how the people was and how the people was developed over the period of the time. We had the hunter and the gatherers. Then we also seen the Paleolithic, the time period, Mesolithic, Neolithic. Okay, we have the Stone Age, where the tools have been made up of stones. All right, and we have certain set of uh, the documents also. For example, we have the manuscripts which were written on the basically leaves of the palm tree, right? We have the birch tree which was basically grown in the higher, the temperate regions. On the basically the bark of the birch tree, we have, we have made the paper, and on the paper we have written the manuscripts. But you must understand, those manuscripts have not been survived for long period uh, because of bacterial decomposition. But the inscriptions which were inscribed on the hard surface have sufficiently been preserved because they have been inscribed on the hard surface, say stones or metals. All right, so that is why we can say that the inscriptions and the manuscripts are the two sources through which we can also know about our future. Apart from that, the archaeologists who were professional and who were basically, you know uh, basically excavating and finding out those remains. Okay, they were basically checking those remains, like for example human remains, animal remains, food remains, right? And all sort of a caves on which the different paintings, right, have been made by the humans, early humans. They were basically checking of the timelines. Okay, they were checking about the developmental parameters that were there on that time, right? So through that we came to know about our past, we came to know about our past. But we can say that during initial period of the time, the hunter gatherers were there. These hunter gatherers were basically skilled in the hunting and gathering the food. Okay, so they basically gathered the food, they basically hunt the animals, so they were basically very well known to the environment. All right, and over the period of the time, the people, the age started, say Paleolithic, then Mesolithic, then Neolithic. The humans adapted to the different conditions. The tools also that was there in the stone, the stone tools that was started, the people started using the tools made up of bones, stones, and etc. And on during the Neolithic period, they were become more finer, and polished one. And the humans also started using, say, pottery, earthen pots, and etc., all sort of things. So which has led to, again, you know uh, the evolution of human being. So let's begin with the with our new chapter, that is the third chapter. So as we have seen that food is very important for the life, and this food we get from the plants, grasses, and the tree. Even today, this is well established fact that the early humans also got the food for their life, for their sustenance, also from plants, grasses, and the tree. Now, different plants grow in the different conditions, right? For example, if you say the rice, for example, comparatively require the more water, because rice is basically a humid crop, okay, which require the more water than the wheat and the barley. Okay, so that is why you can say that, or you can easily assume that the farmers grow some crops in some areas, not in the other areas, because that crop will require a sufficient amount of humidity, sufficient amount of assured irrigation facility. If that assured irrigation facility is not there, it will be very difficult for you to grow the crops. So through that only, at the selected places, we can find out some remains of the grains, especially the rice, and we can infer that this place would have been the humid place, or would have been sufficient amount of irrigational facilities on that time, isn't it? Then different animals too prefer different environment. For instance, the sheep, goat can survive easily easily than cattle in the dry and hilly environment. You have seen that the sheep and the goat both are found with the poor farmers. Okay, even you can say that the goat is also called as poor man's cow. The goat is also called as poor man's cow because these sheep and goat can also survive in a hardy climate, and moreover they are cheaper to purchase, and that is why the poor farmers can easily purchase the sheep and goat, and they can easily survive in basically the dry and the hilly climate also. Okay, all right. Then women, men, and the children could also attract and then tame animals by leaving food for them near their shelters. So over the period of the time, as I discussed in the last class, the humans started, humans started domesticating those animals which were more pro to the human, which were more friendly. So the people started giving them food, leaving the food, right, so that they can basically protect them from wild animals, isn't it? So there were two-way process. All right, the first animal to be tamed was basically the wild ancestor of the dog. The wild ancestor of the dog was the first one to be tamed, right, for the protection of humans. Then this is related to the early humans. Now later the people also encouraged the animals that were relatively gentle to come near to the cats. Okay, because if they promote some of those wild animals, it would have threat to the humans also. So they basically preferred the animals which were gentle to the humans, and these animals like sheep, goat, cattle and pigs, which were basically lives in the herds or in the jhund mein rehte the. Now you can also infer that even also today we live with the sheep, goat, cattle and the pig also, and we rear them, and we basically you basically slaughter them for our meat purposes also, right? Often people protect these animals from the attacks by other wild animals. This is how they become herders, right? So when you say the herders do not become just like that. So the point is, the people who were initially were there, how the herders would have come. The herders would have not come just like that. They would have come only when they domesticated certain animal for their own purpose, right? Now when another animal attacked on that animal, right, they would have killed that particular animal, and that is how these herders, right, they would have emerged over the period of the time. As the grain had to be stored both for food and the seed, the people had to think the ways of storing it. So the storehouse was created. Okay, because as I told you, the people started living in the village areas. So the people started thinking, because they were started, domesticating the animals, domesticating the grains, the crops. So they started, growing those crops in the surplus amount. Now if they grow in the surplus amount, where will they store them? So they started thinking, right, that we can have also have certain amount of pot. Then animals which are of importance like cow, buffalo, which gave milk, and the sheep, which gave basically wool, also reared by the humans. Now few of those sites which were, certain amount of the remains have been found. Certain amount of remains have been found. For example, you see here you see here the site called Mehergarh, which is located nearby your say Afghanistan, then Wurjan, sorry, Iran, etc., from where the grains and the bones have been found. So from there the grains and basically the bones are found, right? The Paleolithic people used to use the different tools as compared to the Neolithic people. So as I told you that the Paleolithic means old people or old culture. Paleo means old, right? So you see here, when the old people or old culture people have started using tools that were comparatively different tools than the Neolithic people, because Neolithic people has started living in the village areas rather than just like a wanderers or just like a hunter and the gatherers. Now this Neolithic tools, which include, as I told you in the initial phase, that these tools were basically initially polished, right? Give a fine cutting edge, because the humans become more clever, humans become more organized, more developed. So the fine cutting edge tools started evolving. Okay, the mortars, pestles used for grinding the grain. Okay, and other plants produce. Now, these mortars, pestles are used for the grinding grains even today, and even thousands of the year later, even thousands of the years later. All right. Now, now at the same time, when we say that the tools which were there in the Paleolithic period also continued because the Paleolithic has led to the Mesolithic. The Mesolithic has led to the Neolithic. So the tools which were used by the Paleolithic people continued by the Mesolithic people. Even the Neolithic tools also has certain amount of the Paleolithic tools, but as I told you, they become more finer, cutting edge, and they become polished one, right? The tools of Paleolithic types continue to be made and used. And remember, some tools were made also made up of bones, just like a before. All right. And many kinds of earthen pots have also been found. So earthen pots are there to store certain amount of grains, seeds, food items, right? Flesh, meat, and etc. Now, these earthen pots during the Neolithic period of the time started decorating also. So they started decorating, and they used to have certain amount of food that will be stored in the basically in the earthen pots. Now, but in many areas, the man and the woman still continue to hunt and gather the food. Okay, so it is not that when the Neolithic culture has started, everywhere the Neolithic culture has evolved. No, even say, let's say in the USA, you can say that USA is developed country, but there are certain deeper pockets in the Africa where people still practiced primitive culture. So that is why this statement also signify that the people still continue to hunt the food and collect the food, hunting the animals and still, and people elsewhere started adopting the farming practices. Okay, and slowly over the period of the time, thousands of the years, right, they started growing different crops, and they came to know about different seasons and cropping patterns and etc and so forth over the period of the time. All right. Now, many of the farmers, herders lives in the groups called tribes. Okay, the tribe word that we have today is came from the basically a community. Okay, where the people used to live in the groups. So that grouping is called basically the tribes. Originally that grouping is called the tribes. So the groupings basically consist of either herders or the farmers that used to stay together because of lot of reasons, say for the collective defense, for basically food purpose, for safety purpose, for security purpose, for any other thing. The Mehergarh, which is a site which is located right in the fertile plain near Bolan Pass, is one of the most important route into the Iran. Now, it is the probably, according to the historians or according to the archaeologists, it is the probably the one of the places where the woman and the men learn to grow barley and the wheat. That means, how would have been we inferred that they would have learned this wheat and barley growing? Because we found the seeds of wheat and barley over there, or we found the remains of wheat and barley, right? Through the dating techniques, we came to know that they were much earlier than the seeds which were found in another place. All right. And also we found that they also rear the sheep, goat for the first time in this area. Okay, for the first time in India. So these people who used to live in the Mehergarh regions of Iran has the earliest development in terms of this area. Okay, after excavation of some sites found the evidence of many kinds of animal bones from earliest labels. Okay, now excavation also led to the many kinds of bones have been found in that area. Okay, now this included the bones of the wild animals such as deer, pig. Okay, so this bones also been found. This bones maybe belongs to the deer and the pig, which also shows that the people would have started domesticating these animals. Now, in the later labels, they found more bones of sheep and the goat. All right, so that means in the initial phase, the people started domesticating the deer and the pig. Later they also found that the people also started domesticating the sheep and the goat. And in the still later labels, The cattle bones are also most common. That means the people also started domesticating or even killing them for their food. Okay, so this was the animal that was generally kept by the people. We can say that these were the animals that would have kept by the people either for the domestic purpose or for meat or for milk or for other purposes, right? Now, other rituals like when the people die, their relatives and the friends generally pay the respect to them. This was true even before also. We found certain evidence for that. We found certain evidence of one. So you can say that if you see the burial sites or the pits, burial pits, you can find that many people believe that after life or after we die, right, when we take the birth, right, we would also need certain amount of the items which we like the most in this birth. So uh, they used to kept those items, artifacts, those articles along with the dead remains of the person, so that the person can use these items in the next life also. Okay, for example, in the several burial sites which was there in the Mehergarh region, a dead person was found with buried with the goats. So that means that the goat which was buried along with the dead person would have served as a food in the next birth. In the next birth means when the person will take the next birth, that goat will serve as a food for the person in the next birth. So that is just like, their belief system. So even the dead remains also tell us the past, about our past also. All right, then let's look at the earlier cities. In some places, let's say before 80 years, right, expedition took place, because this expedition process was not very old. It is recent one and it was taking place. Now, these archaeologists found the site and realized that this was one of the oldest cities in the subcontinent. It was one of the oldest cities of the subcontinent. All right. Now, only the archaeologists came to know that, because they have the professional knowledge of ascertaining the fact that whether it is the oldest or it is the newest, right? Now, this was the first city to be discovered, and all the other sites from which where the similar buildings are there are found where uh, why also found. This city was called as Harappan. Okay, this cities was developed around 4,700 years ago, right? So you can say that in the Harappa city, the similar buildings were there. Okay, what you can infer from the similar buildings, similar architecture, you can say that the inequality in the Harappan site, right, or equality in the Harappan era was negligible. That is why the people has almost similar amount of or similar type of houses, right? If there would have been inequality, the houses differences also would be there, but there was no such difference, and these cities would have evolved, developed around 4,700 years ago. Okay, now let's look at about these cities. Okay, let's look at about the few cities which were there. Okay, so many of the cities were divided into two or more parts. Okay, so just like that, you can say that upper town and the lower town. So you can say that the western part of a city were smaller, and but that is higher. Okay, but we call them as a citadel. Okay, and the part which was there on the eastern side, that was comparatively larger, but it is a lower, right, and it is basically a simple town. It is also called a simple town. So you can say that these cities were there which were on the western side of the town, right, called the citadel, and the cities which were on the eastern side of uh, the town is called basically the simple town, or but it is a larger. So you can say that the higher one was occupied by, let's say, by the administrators, by the wealthy persons, but the lower side was occupied by, say, artisans, farmers, right, or the general public, right? The bricks are so well made, the bricks we use for the construction are so well made that they have lasted for the thousands of the years. Okay, so they have been properly baked, properly made from the clay, and they were proportionate mixture, so they were lasted for the thousands of the years. The bricks are laid in the interlocking pattern, and they were made as strong walls, right? Often the walls of the big bricks are built around each part. So you can say that these buildings survived for the thousands of the year is because of the interlocking system that was there in the basically wall making. Okay, in some cities the special buildings are constructed on the citadel. Okay, citadel was the western part of a town which was located somewhat at the higher elevation. Okay, where many people believe that it was occupied by the administrator or the wealthy person. So here you can say that some special buildings was constructed. For example, in the Mohenjo-daro, okay, a very special tank which archaeologists called as a great wall was built in that area. Okay, so that special tank would have been used for the special ceremony by the priest or by the king on that time. Okay, this was lined with the bricks. Lined का मतलब होता है उसको basically covering किया जाता है अंदर से, ठीक है. So that was lining process, right, so that the water should not seep down, जिससे बात पानी है वो नीचे ना चला जाए. So that lining was done by the bricks. Okay, it is coated with the plaster, ऊपर से उसको plaster कर दिया गया था, and it was watertight with the layers of natural tar. So उसको natural tar से इस तरह से बना दिया गया था कि it was completely watertight. It was completely watertight. All right, it was completely watertight, which has led to all right. So as I told you that this great bath was lined by the bricks and it is basically plastered over the period of the time. And these steps were leading down to from the both the sides, and there were rooms on all the sides. So there were steps which were leading down to the bottom, and there was rooms on the both the sides that were basically used on that time. The water was probably brought in from the bell. There was bells, right. These water used to flow into the tank, and this tank basically used out, and this water would have been drained after the use. Perhaps the most important people took the dip in this tank is on the special occasion. जैसे हमारे यहाँ पे होता है ना गंगा स्नान, इस तरह से वहां पे भी होता होगा. तो इस तरह से हम लोग बिलीव किए, and we would have believed that, or archaeologists believe that this tank would have been used in the auspicious or the special occasions, right. All right. अगर दूसरी cities की बात करें like Kalibangan, Lothal, right, we have also find fire altars. Okay, the fire altars are used for sacrifice purpose. So Lothal and the Kalibangan region was known for the fire altars. Now these sacrifice may have performed right at these sites, right. Some of these sites or some of these cities like Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, Lothal are elaborated storehouses. So was elaborated storehouses means there were granaries would have been stored over the period of the time in those storehouses. Many of the cities have covered drains. So drainage system was very well planned. Okay, the drainage system, there was proper drainage system, no choking, absolutely. And how carefully they were let down in the straight lanes, in the straight lines. Okay, so they were well beautifully planned, these drainage systems, so that this water would have been easily go away, would have been easily go away during this process. All right. Then each drain has a gentle slope so that the water could flow through it. So you can say that the slope alignment, the alignment of the slope of those drains was perfect so that the water can flow by itself under the force of gravity. Often the drains in the houses are connected to those on the streets, and the smaller drains led to the bigger ones. All right, so you must understand, right, the drains are connected to the houses, to those in the streets, and the smaller drains which led to the bigger one, and ultimately which has led to the, or it's led to the bigger region to ultimately drain out those complete water. As the drains were covered, the inspection holes were also provided at the interval to clean them, just like a sewage holes you would have seen on the roads. Those inspection holes were also provided so that people can easily inspect if there is any choking or any blocking of those sewers. All three houses the drains, streets were probably planned and built at the same time. So which shows that there were some kingdom or some the king who believes in the equality, because that all elaborate arrangement cannot be done by if there is any inequality in the society. So that shows that there was equality in the society. Let's look at the lives of the people. How was the life of the people, of the Harappan people? So you can say that Harappan city was very busy place. It was very busy place because the people used to stay there, right? The people who planned the construction of the spale building in the city, okay? Now these were probably the rulers, okay? That is what I said. So some special buildings were found on the western side of the city, which were we call the citadels. On the citadel, which was located at the higher level, some special buildings which was constructed, that would have probably been rulers of Harappan civilization. It is likely that the rulers sent people to the distant land to get metal, precious stones, and other things that were wanted. So just like a normal king, also that thing they do, they send their envoys to the to the distant land, so that they can bring certain amount of precious metals like gold, silver, right, so that it can be used in their own kingdom. There were scribes, people who knows how to write, who has the prepared the seals, perhaps the wrote on the other material that have not been survived. So you can say that they would have probably written certain material that would have not been survived so long. Okay. Besides, there were men and women, craft persons, and all kinds of things, either in their own homes or special workshops were there, where the people used to perform their work. And people were traveling to the distant lands and returning to the raw material, and perhaps different stories were there with them, right? So all these things shows that the life was very vibrant. People used to have the different occupations, right? They were involved in the say in the workshop, they were involved in their homes, they were involved in craft making, they were the people involved in, let's say, traveling to the different locations, like collecting the raw materials, collecting the precious stones, precious metals, and etc. and so forth. Okay, now let's look at the craft. The craft means, you can say here, the copper and the bronze. Generally, these two were used for making the tools. So tools, weapons, ornaments, and the vessels were basically used by the copper and the bronze. Now, the gold and the silver were also used to make an ornament and the vessels. Okay, so gold and silver was also used apart from your crown, apart from your copper and the bronze. Perhaps you can say that the most striking the things that we found basically are the blades, weights, and the beads that were most strikingly found basically in the Harappan region. Now many of the things that produced, right, are the work of the specialist, because these things cannot be produced by the simple person. So that shows that they have also specialists who were experienced in certain amount of the work. Now a specialist is a person who is trained to do a one kind of work. For example, if any sculpture is there who can make a sculpture of a person, that means he's trained in sculpting the body, right? Like that, a cutting stone, polishing beads, making the seals, all were done by the specialists who were specialized in making such items, right? You can also say that how well the face is carved, right, and how carefully the beard is shown, right? So you can say that the beard person in the NCRT is also given. The beard person, you can say that how well and beautifully the face is carved, how beautifully the beard is also shown. Okay, so this is all work of the expert craft person only, not a single or not a simple person can do it. All right, let's look at the raw material, the raw material perspective. So all people of you know about the raw material. So raw material is basically a substance which can be used, right, for the different industrial applications. You can say this raw material can be found either naturally or either made by artificially, made by farmers, herders, or industrialists. So you can say that These raw materials are the substance which are either found naturally or which are produced by the farmers and the herders. So they often used to produce this finished good, because raw materials are always used for the purpose of producing this finished goods, right? Although, all right. Now, some of these raw materials that the Harappans used were available locally, right? Because you must understand, they were locally procured, but few of those materials which have been brought from the distant places, right? For example, copper, tin, gold, silver, precious stones that were brought from the different places. For example, the copper was sourced from the Rajasthan, right? The Khetri mines, right? Like that, different precious metal was also, sourced from Iran and Afghanistan and so on and so forth. So like that, the people basically source the different metals based on the need from the different distant lands. Now let's discuss about the food. Now, many people lived in the cities. Okay. Now, the other people who used to live in the countryside का मतलब होता है in the villages or nearby the villages area, but definitely outside the city limits. Okay. They used to grow the crops, right? And rear the animals. Now, when they grow the crops and they rear the animals, the farmers, these farmers and the herders supply food to the craft persons, scribes, rulers in the cities, just like in normal. So you can say that these farmers, right, these herders used to supply that food, right, flesh, that items, right, food items, grains, etc., to those people who used to stay in the city, today's right uh, just like in today's like conditions. Like, the plow was used to dig the earth for turning the soil and planting the seeds. Okay. Just like a normal plow, the plow would have been the wooden one that would have been used on that time. Okay. As this region does not receive the heavy rainfall, some form of the irrigation may be used. So the people who were, or the archaeologists who were there, who believed that the people did not or the land did not have the enough irrigation facilities. क्या कर रही हो? तो बिना को क्यों सेव कर रही हो? उसको करो ना, कोई बात नहीं, वो तो सेव होता जा रहा है ना उसका, तो बुक का तो बिना को छोड़ो, बिना को नहीं जरूरत।
ये बार-बार मैं कंट्रोल एस कर रही हूं तो ये आ रहा है।
कंट्रोल एस बिना पे क्यों करना है? बिना को थोड़ी करना है।
सॉरी कंट्रोल सी करना है।
कंट्रोल सी करना है। हो गया। बिना अभी पूछ रहा हूं आपको। ये भैया
हो गया सारा कुछ।
चुम्मा में लगा मेरा मुंह। All right. So the people or the archaeologists believe that there were not enough or heavy rainfall in that region. So definitely the irrigation, or definitely the cultivation, was dependent on some assured irrigation facilities. That means on that time itself also the irrigation facilities were there. The water would have been stored, supplied to the field when where the plants was basically growing. Okay. That water would have been stored to them. Now, these Harappan people also reared the cattle, sheep, goats, buffalo that we have just now discussed. That we found their remains. So that shows that these people domesticated those animals. The water, pastures were available around the settlements. Okay. However, in the dry summer months, the larger herds of the animals were probably taken to the greater distance in search of the grass and the winter. So that thing would have been there, because in the dry and the lean season, these animals would have been taken to the greater distance so that they can survive. And they people also collect the fruits, like fish, bear, right? And also they also hunted the animals like antelopes, like boar, and etc., and so forth. Okay. Now let's discuss about the Harappan towns which was there first of all in Gujarat. So one by one we will be discussing these towns. So how these towns were there. Okay. So one by one we will discuss these towns which was located basically in the different states. So let's discuss first the Dholavira town, which is located in the Gujarat. Okay, the city of the Dholavira was located basically in the Run of Kutch region. Okay, you have seen the map of Gujarat where the Run of Kutch is a marshy land, right? It is an arid marshy land, so it is located on the Khadir Vate, which is located on the Run of Kutch. Okay, now where there was a fresh water and the fertile soil. Okay, there was a fresh water and the fertile soil. So the city of Dholavira was there. Now, this Dholavira was divided into three parts, right? This Dholavira, which was divided into three parts, unlike which some other cities are there where they can divide into two parts. For example, if you see in the Harappan side, there was western side which was called Citadel, the eastern side which was called the lower city, right? The upper side one or the Citadel one where the rulers used to live, right? It was located on the somewhat higher distance. So that means the city is divided into two parts. But here, the cities which were there, for example, in the Gujarat, the Dholavira town, which were basically divided into three parts, right? Now, each part is surrounded with a massive stone wall with entrance through the gateways, right? So there was different architecture, different making, right? There were three parts instead of two parts, and each part is surrounded by a massive stone wall. Okay, and there was entrance through the different gateways which basically led to these individual parts, right? Just like ये आपने जैसे city में जाएंगे, just for example, if you visit Bharatpur, Rajasthan, okay, there were few, say 9 to 10 gates are there. These gates were surrounding the old city of Bharatpur. Okay, now the city has grown to the outside of these old city. Previously, when city was not there, the all gates used to close. No invader can invade on the Bharatpur city because gates were there. Understand? So like that, the massive stone walls were used basically to construct those walls, buildings, right? On that there, right? So just like that, you can also say that there were also large open area in the settlements where the people ceremonies could be held. जैसे अपने पास large open areas होते हैं where the people ceremony used to have, right? And people also found that in the Harappan script, which were carved out on the white stone and perhaps inlaid on the wood, right? This is unique find, and generally Harappan writing have been found on the small objects such as seals, right? So seals जो आपने देखा होगा उनमें Harappan writings लिखा गया, so that seals basically are comparatively smaller objects which were found in the Harappan cities. Next is Lothal. Lothal is also located in the Gujarat. Lothal city is also located in the Gujarat. So see, the city of Lothal stood right beside the tributary of Sabarmati in the Gujarat. Sabarmati is the river. Sabarmati is the river which used to flow through Ahmedabad and so forth and so forth. Right. So this stood beside the tributary of Sabarmati, which is close to the Gulf of Khambat. Okay, this Lothal city is close to the Gulf of Khambat. It is situated near the areas where the raw materials such as semi-precious stones were easily available. Okay, so a lot of other benefits were there, right? These raw materials would have been sourced from the nearby areas. Now, because of that, it was a very important center for making the objects out of stone, shell, and metals, because the semi-precious stones were lying or were easily available in the nearby area. So raw material was easily available. So it has grown to the important center of making these objects out of stone, shell, and metals. Right? These were also made as a storehouse in the city, right? Because of they have a lot of stones and shells and metals. They were made out of it. Many seals were found in those storehouse. Right? Now, the buildings that were found are probably the workshop for making the weeds, the pieces for stones, half-made beads, the tools for bead making, and finished beads that have been found there. So that means a weed industry was very flourished. You can say that a workshop was found, the pieces of the stones were found, right? Half-made beads were found, tools for bead making were there, the finished beads were there. That means the bead making, the area which was known for the semi-precious stones were easily available, and that is why the area is also known for the important center of the making objects, right, out of stone, out of shell, and out of metals. Okay, let's discuss about end of this civilization, how the end of this civilization occurred. So first of all, around 3900 years ago, right, we find the beginning of major change. So let's say that around 4600 years ago the civilization was started, but around 3900 years ago the major changes started evolving. The people stopped living in many of the cities, right? What was the reason? That many people do not know. Even scholars also suggest different regions. What would have been the regions of disappearance of this great civilization, that is Harappan civilization? So many scholars suggest that different regions of the end of the civilization, right? So some says that due to the river which used to flow through the nearby Harappa civilization was dried up. Some says that due to the deforestation, right, that would have happened because of some sort of a fuel that is required for baking the bricks, for smelting the copper ores, so they would have cleared all the forest, but that thing looks impossible. Okay, even if you clear the forest, you will have the oxygen availability in the region. So on that time there were, the lush green forests that were lying over there, no development anywhere. So how it is possible that just by deforestation the many people would have died because of some region? It is not possible. The river which is dried up, that is possible because some sort of a tectonic shift would have been possible, tectonic movement of the plates. Okay, that would have changed the course of the river, but still many people says that this area is comparatively dry. Okay, the people do not have the do not have enough humidity, so people dependent on the basically, let's say, for irrigation facilities. So different theories were there. Okay, besides grazing by the large herds of the kettles, sheep, goats may have destroyed the green cover. In some areas there were floods. Okay, so different scholars gave different interpretation, different suggestions, like there would have been floods, right? Many reasons they gave for destruction of those cities, right? From drying of the rivers to eating of those plants by the say by the animals, to cutting down of those forest by the humans itself, for smelting the ore and copper and iron, etc., and so forth. But these all things looks illogical. Okay, many people think that there was a fight between Aryans and the native people. Okay, these Aryans were invaders that invade on India. Okay, and they basically subjugated on these people. They made them, right, as a you know as a prisoner, and they killed all of them, right, and they thrown out all of their settlements from the place. So that could have been region, right? The people would have abandoned the place because of this fight, and they would have killed by this Aryan civilization that have moved from say from Central Asia, Western Asian region. All right, now the books and the burial tells us, okay, that one of the oldest books of the world is Veda. Veda, आपको पता है, Veda, Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sam Veda, Athar Veda. So these are the four Vedas are there. So you see here, the Rig Veda, Sam Veda, Yajur Veda, and Athar Veda are basically the four Vedas which were there. The oldest Veda among all these four Vedas are Rig Veda. Rig Veda, that is composed around 3500 years ago. So that was composed around 3500 years ago. This Rig Veda basically includes 1,000 hymns, okay, or you can say the sukta, which is basically used by the people, right, on that time. Now, why these hymns were there? These hymns were there, right, in the praise of various gods and goddess, right? The people who believes on that time some gods and goddess, these hymns were basically devoted to those god and goddess. The most important god were there on that time is Agni. Agni मतलब आपकी आग, ठीक है, the god of fire, who was considered as the god of fire. Indra, the warrior god. Soma, Soma मतलब आपका जो basically आपका the plant from which a special drink was prepared. आपके भोलेनाथ शिव शंकर भगवान ने पिया था वो वाला सोमा, right? So all these things were basically basically considered all those, you know, the people were considered as a god on that time. So you can say that here, these hymns were basically devoted for their worship, right? All right. ठीक है. Now these hymns which were there or rishis. So these rishis or the priest which taught the student to recite and memorize each syllable, word, and the sentence bit by bit and with the great care. Okay, they were priests. They were, the rishis who used to compose these hymns, and these priests enable the student to recite them, to memorize them, right? To understand them, to digest them, and to take care of them, right? Now most of these hymns were composed, taught, and learned by the man. So they were not written, but they were taught, learned, and composed by the men, and few were composed by the women. So that means you can say that majority of those hymns were composed by the men only. The Rig Veda is an old and Vedic Sanskrit document, right? The Rig Veda was recited, heard read, rather than read, and it was written down several centuries after it was first composed. So you can say that the first printing of the Rig Veda, all right, was around 200 years ago only. Okay, so it was not printed. It was not printed, but you must understand it was recited, it was heard, right? Rather than it was read, because it was not printed. It was not printed, right? It was first composed and printed less than 200 years ago only. That too on the contribution of the British. Okay, the British came, and that is how they started, promoting of those, the religious books, so that they can basically easily administer, right, the India based on the findings of such Vedas. Okay, now let's understand the archaeological study of Veda, the archaeological study of the Veda. So as I told you that Rig Veda consists of the hymns in the memory of the gods. The gods were considered as a, let's say, the Agni, which was god of fire, Soma, and you're basically, all sort of gods which were there. Now, some of these hymns which were there in the Rig Veda are in the form of dialogues. Okay. Now, this is the part of one such hymns, the dialogue between saga named as Vishwamitra and two rivers, right? So these were something worshipped as a goddess. So these two rivers, which were known as Beas and Satluj, that were worshipped as a goddess on that time. So just like a dialogue between Vishwamitra and the two rivers. So they were continuously dialoguing between among them, and these dialogues were basically subsequently, documented. What was not documented, they were recited and they were basically learned, but they were not heard. They were not heard, right? There were many prayers in the Rig Veda for cattle, children, and the horses. You can see here prayers for cattle, children, and the horses. That means these the cattle, children, and the horses were also considered as as par with the god, but not as par with the god, but certain amount of respect was given to them also. Horses were yoked to the chariots and they were used in the battles. So you can say that when the prayers are devoted to the horses, there was some significance. So they were basically attached to the chariots, and they were basically take to the warships where they were fought, to capture certain battles, right? So like that, they have certain significance for the gods. The battles were also fought on the land, which were important for the pasture and growing hardy crops that were ripe quickly, and so that barley. Okay, so all such things basically was there in your Rig Veda. So Rig Veda basically told you about uh, the the culture of the people which were there on that time, the importance of the gods which were worshipped on that time. Okay, apart from the god, what are other, the people which used to basically, you know uh, which used to basically, worship on that time. हाँ सर, गुड इवनिंग, गुड इवनिंग सर. सर बिल्कुल सर, वो होने वाली है सर, बेसिकली मतलब वो मैसेज मिल गया था सर, वो सबमिट करने वाला हूँ सर उसको भी थोड़ी देर में. दर्शन वाली, अच्छा दर्शन दर्शन वाली भी चल रही है, और जो अभी सर ने भेजा था सर, वो क्या नाम है उस कॉपी का, मैं आपको बताता हूँ। एक सेकंड में बताता हूँ सर उस कॉपी का नाम। मैं वही करने लग गया था सर, एक्चुअली वो जो है ना, मिश्रा सर का मैसेज आ गया था सर, तो मेरे को रोकना पड़ा था। मैं आपको बताता हूँ सर, एक सेकंड रुकिए, एक सेकंड होल्ड करिए सर, मैं आपको बताता हूँ कौन सी कॉपी है जो मैं चेक कर रहा हूँ सर। सर मुखिया नरसिम्हा स्वामी सर, ये वाली कॉपी बोल दिया था सर मेरे को, अभी 5 बजे मैसेज किया था सर ने, तो मैं वो करने लग गया सर। आपकी दर्शन वाली कॉपी को सर उसके बाद भेजूंगा सर, वो अभी जस्ट होने वाली है मुखिया वाली सर। दर्शन वाली 1 घंटा और दे दीजिए सर। सुबह का बैठा हूँ सर, एक तो 4 कॉपी करती सर, ये 5 की हो जाएगी आज सर, और 4-5 कॉपी सबमिट कर दूंगा सर। जी जी जी, थैंक यू सर।
वो सबसे मैं कॉपी पेस्ट कर दूँ, तो डाल दो मुझे उसमें, मैं सब कॉपी पेस्ट करके रेडी रखती हूँ।
All right, so all right, so we were discussing about the Vedas. All right, so Vedas are basically, you can say that these Vedas were basically the oldest, the documents that were survived, right, that were known in our throughout the history, right. Some of the wealth were obtained, were kept by the leaders, right, which were stayed on the time, given to the priest, and the rest are distributed among the people. Everything is given by the Veda, or basically interpreted by the Veda by archaeologists. Some wealth were used for the performance of yajnas, sacrifice, which were offering were made into the fire, right. Now this offering which were made to the fire, because fire was considered as a god, right, as a god. So there was certain, the sacrifice which were devoted to the god of fire, right, so that they can give in return something, right. They were meant for pleasing those gods, right. They were meant for pleasing those gods, right, in return of getting something back. All right, then now when we say we used to offer to those gods, right, what we offer on that time, we offer the ghee, grain, and in some cases animals also. बलि दी जाती है ना, बलि, जैसे राजस्थान में ऊंट की बलि देते हैं, ठीक है, इसी तरह से जगह जगह पे लोग और बलि बलि भी देते हैं। तो ये अभी तक चली आ रही है, मतलब दिस कस्टम्स आर स्टिल गोइंग ऑन। अब सोचो, ऊंट की बलि देते हैं, ऊंट, कैमल, on the devi, one devi is there in the Rajasthan. She used to please by the, जब तक ऊंट को नहीं चढ़ा देते तब तक वो खुश नहीं होती। तो आप सोच सकते हो कि that is how the animals used to sacrifice, right, that is how the animals used to sacrifice by the people. So all such things are still continued even after thousands of the years. No god and goddess ask this, it is made by the people. It is, they are all dogmas, they are all, the ill-conceived notions that the god will be happy if we sacrifice certain animals, right, if we cut down the animals, right, if we offer those animals to the god. How would the god would be happy if you cut the animals, right? It is simple logic as it is, right. So it is all made by the people for their own selfish benefit only. All right, most men took part in these wars, that is okay. War was a quite, logical explanation of, say, controlling any other, the territory. So if you want to control something, you have to fought a war. So that was a quite logical. There were no regular army on that time, right, and people were used to live in the assemblies where the people meet and discuss matters of the war and the peace. Okay, they also chose the leaders during the assembly itself, and they often brave and skillful warriors. So people used to have those skillful and the brave warriors, and they used to choose among them, right. There were two groups generally, right, who were described in terms of their work, right. For example, the priest, which used to have the Brahmins in that particular grouping. So the priest generally consists of the Brahmins who performs various rituals and prayers. And there were second groups which are called rajas, right. The rajas are basically ruled the area, so there was two groups. Now these rajas were not like the one you will be learning about later, right. Rather they were still dependent on the Brahmins for their sustenance, right? These were there. Now they did not have the capital cities. They depended on the Brahmins for sustenance, and second, they did not have the capital cities also. जैसे आपके उज्जैन में जाएंगे, जैसे राजस्थान में आप जाएंगे, ठीक है, the Rajput kingdoms were there. In the Maharashtra में जाएंगे, Maratha kingdoms were there, like just like that. So they had their own capitals, but on that time there were no such capitals, no palaces, no armies, and also they did not collect any tax. They did not collect any tax also. The sons did not automatically succeed the father at the rajas. तो अभी पहले तो क्या होता था, during the British time or even before that also, the son of the raja will succeed on the throne, isn't it? The next, his son also succeed on the throne after his death. But on that time there was no such succession. There was no such succession because the people used to choose. People used to choose their leaders, right? Those among those people who were brave and skillful warriors, and there were two types of people. One is, the priest, and another is rajas, and these rajas were different than the rajas that we learned in our, say, in the medieval India period, right? Now these were some of the features that were basically found. Okay, now the two words are used to describe the people or the community as a whole. One is the word jana. Which is still used in the Hindi, and other is language, right? So you must understand, the other one was basically wish. So jana, language, another one is wish. So the word came vishya, which came from basically the word wish, right? These people who compose the hymns describe themselves as Aryans, right, and call their opponents as a dasas and dasyus. तो आपने वो कहानी सुनी होगी ना, Aryans and dasyus की कहानी. So that is the same thing. The Aryans who came from outside the Indian mainland, they call themselves as a Aryans because they compose those hymns, right, and their opponents are called basically dasas and dasyus, right? These people who did not perform the sacrifice and probably spoke different languages. So the dasyus which were there, right, they are not Aryans. They did not perform this sacrifice, elaborate arrangement. They did not worship Agni and all sort of things, but rather they have different alternative arrangement. They did not speak the similar language as the Aryans speak. Later, the dasa, which was also started knowing as slave, which shows that the dasas were the native residents of the Indian mainland. The dasas was the native residents of Indian mainland. The slaves were women, men who were often captured in the war. So that basically shows that the people Aryan would have come, they would have invaded, they would have made the dasas and dasyus as a slave, and they were ultimately captured in the war, and they were treated as a property of the owner. Who was the owner? It was the Aryans who became the owner ultimately. Now this Rigveda was being composed in the northwest of the continent. There were other development elsewhere. All right, so these were some of the important known things about the Rigveda period. Okay, now let's understand the megalith. These were stone boulders that were known as a megalith, literally known as big stones. All right, so we will discuss from this slide tomorrow. All right, so we have covered our this part of the lecture up to here, and tomorrow we'll start from this slide. Okay, so we have 3 more slides which is left out. We'll cover it out tomorrow. So thank you very much for attending this session. Thank you.